Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to feature to you a rare plant called Philodendron Hastatum, or sometimes commonly called as a Philodendron Silver Sword. This plant is rare because of its unique features. The leaves are silvery. It has elongated leaves and it's like a sword. Look at the leaves of this plant. It's so shiny and it's silvery. It has this metallic characteristic. And this plant can grow up to 100 feet tall in the wild. If it's grown indoors, it can grow up to 10 feet tall. In the wild, these plants are climbers and they climb up to the trees, but you can maintain this plant to become shorter by pruning them all the time. In this episode, I'm excited to feature to you. It's a very special episode because this plant, I use a wick. You could design this plant by using a nice container. I have a nice porcelain container that I use, and I put water halfway. Then I use a wick. That way it will have a continuous supply of water. I don't water this plant anymore. Just put water. This container serves as a reservoir. You travel a lot, if you're gone all the time, this is the best method that I recommend to you. I would like you to try this method to see if you think it is beneficial to you. But for me, I've proven it. I've been growing this plant for almost 6 months now, and look at the plant. It's very healthy. As I've said, I use a wick. You could use a cotton material. You could use like a shoelace that you don't use anymore. I found this cord that I could use. So what you have to do is to make a knot, one of the ends of the rope or the wicking material. I use 2 pots, a small pot and a bigger pot. And on this bigger pot, it has perforations on it. And if you look at this pot, it has perforations. What you can do is to drill holes, maybe halfway of the plastic pot. Make small holes, same thing at the bottom. Make a bigger hole at the bottom so that where you could insert the wick that you're going to use. Make sure it has holes on it and that the hole is small enough to fit the knot that you made on the cord. And then put one of the holes. All right, that's the way you have to do it. Then the second pot, what you have to do is to put the cord or the wick at the bottom of the pot. Now, this is the way I've done it with this plant that I have. The container, it serves as a reservoir. Then fill up probably halfway of water. Then put your plant. I'm going to show you what I have over here. And I don't water this anymore. What I do is just put a water to the container or the reservoir. I'm going to show you what I got over here. It has these roots, okay? And if you look at the roots of this one, and this plant is pretty healthy. What you can do also is you could hang this one, or you could get any, like the one I have over here. I use a jar at the bottom. I use this top one, a porcelain container. Put it like that. It's a good design. Or what I recommend also, you could use a hanging planter. Then what you have to do is to put water over here, make sure there's no hole. Put your plant over here with the water, okay, like that, and then you could hang it like this. I recommend this if you're traveling a lot and you're gone all the time, or sick and tired of watering plants, you know. This is the best method that I would like to recommend to you. I would like you to try it. Philodendron Hastatum, the cultural requirements of this is that it can grow into a temperature of 60 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, but it could adjust to maybe a lower or higher temperature too. For this plant to grow healthy, make sure there should be a combination of air and water. It's been elevated. There's a gap between the water and the pot. So there's a gap there, so there's an air circulation. I believe that plants love that way because there's a combination, again, with air, water. This plant belongs to the Araceae family or the Arum or Aroid family. They prefer to have a indirect bright light, but this plant is not finicky and it could adjust to a certain light requirements. Probably if you notice also that there are certain plants planted near the streams of water and they thrive better that way. I believe this is the same principle that I showed to you, because the wick used that capillary action, and the wick draws water from the bottom on the water on this reservoir, and then it goes up. That means to say that you don't overwater them. With the wick, it regulates the water and it prevents from overwatering. There's an air in between these two pots with the perforations in it. There's air that is circulating, and I believe that's why this plant loves this method, because of that. Again, as I've said, there's a combination of air, water, and vapors. Fertilization, maybe just around spring to summer. That's the only time that you fertilize this one. You could use any kind of fertilizer and just drop something at the reservoir, okay? And make sure you don't put too much. So just follow the label, that fertilizer that you're gonna use. Maybe just use halfway what the recommended on that label. And I hope that you like this episode, and I suggest that you try this, especially if you travel a lot. This is the best method, and you don't have to water anymore. What you have to do is just fill up the reservoir, maybe halfway of this one, and then leave the plant like this, all right? It reduces maintenance for any plants if you plant this way. Try it for yourself and prove it, okay? Because I've done it, I've proven it, that is very successful, and I love it, all right? If the two-pot method is too complicated for you, you could just use a single pot like this. The one I have over here is just a single one, and just put a wick. You could just use a transparent or a translucent container which serves as a reservoir, and then just use this one pot with a wick on it, and then put water. That way you could see the activity of the water on this translucent or transparent glass that you could use as a reservoir. How about if there's a plant already that's been established in a pot and you don't want to undo the planting? What you can do is to insert the wick into one of the holes. You could use a stick, anything that you could use to hold the wick together, and then push it underneath the holes of the pot, and make sure that it is steady. And then you could put that in a either a translucent material or a transparent or a clear jar. That way you could monitor the activity of the water. All right. So this is a easy method if you don't want to do the two-pot plastic pot method. I think it's almost the same principle as long there's a wick, because there's so many ways on how to do the wicking process. I've shown you a simple way of making a self-watering material. And I hope that you like this episode. Please like and subscribe, and see you on my next episode. Bye bye.